Ladies and gentlemen, huge news. The Supreme Court is going to look at, well, we already knew that. The Supreme Court is looking at the Colorado decision, will overturn it. It's only a matter of hours, days. Be here when they do. Hit subscribe to this channel. I will have a live stream the second they overturn the absurd, outlandish Colorado decision that prevents Trump from running because of the completely irrational notion that he tried to rebel against the country. Okay? Unfortunately, that type of mayhem took place every single day that summer. Different reason. Not equating the morality of the two demonstrations. I'm stating simply, you had billions in property damage that summer, never viewed as a rebellion by Democrats. They said it was mostly peaceful. Using that logic, that day also with Trump was mostly peaceful. But if you want to use euphemisms, or if you want to just see things from a political vantage point, then you'll use phrases like that. If you look at what took place, it was a demonstration that got out of hand. It wasn't an attempt at rebellion. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Your super chat is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. I can't do these live streams without you. And unlike when Jack Smith asked the court to determine whether Trump could be convicted, the Supreme Court is actually going to look at this. And, of course, they're going to overturn a really stupid ruling. They didn't even give the time of day to the special counsel. They didn't even give the time of day to the special counsel. Okay, so you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where the special counsel asked the Supreme Court to back its view that Trump could be, to back its viewpoint that Trump could be convicted or imprisoned because of the allegations within the indictments. The Supreme Court wouldn't even look at the special counsel's request. Not only are they looking at the request now, but they're going to overturn the decision. Okay, the decision is based purely on a media narrative. Okay, he did not try to overthrow, rebel. He didn't even try to obstruct an official proceeding, Trump. And that's, I mean, the one thing you could say about Trump is he's not a naive person, but here and there, he didn't realize towards the last year of his presidency that everyone around him, even allies, would turn against him. He didn't realize that, unlike left-leaning organizations or demonstrators or activists, if he or Trump Republicans or Republicans in general tried to protest or demonstrate something, they were not going to be treated in the same manner. They were not going to be given the benefit of the doubt. Again, I'm not advocating, I'm not stating that the two reasons people demonstrated were equal. I understand why people demonstrated that summer. Okay, but you have to also realize there's a double standard. Okay? Democrats can look the other way, media can explain and look the other way and try to sweep under the rug billions in property damage, and nobody will question what's taking place. They had at that point all of Twitter. They had at that point social media algorithms, and they don't have that right now. They don't have Twitter anymore. Elon Musk does. They don't have the millions upon millions of dollars from Sam Bankman-Fried. So they don't have a lot of the advantages they once had. Trump is up in the polls. We're going to unfortunately have a very devastating stock market crash. But you look, he's going to regain the Oval Office. You cannot stop a person from running. because of the leap of logic. It's a stupid, really absurd leap of logic. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. To my super chat, thank you. I can't do this without you. Hello, everybody here. Thanks for tuning in. But you're not going to, I mean, they can come out with, tomorrow they could come out and state that Trump is allowed to, and this is a conservative Supreme Court, by the way, okay? It's one thing if it's a law. So Idaho had a law. If it's a law that passes on a state level, you might have a conservative Supreme Court back that. But it wasn't any legislation. There was no legislation that said Trump couldn't be on any ballot because he tried to overthrow the United States government. He didn't do that. That's the thing with Trump that I can't stand also, or that's the thing with, not Trump, but people who don't like Trump, Democrats, people who are obsessed with disliking Trump. It's like, just leave it at you don't like him and leave it at that. You don't have to go into some absurd fantasy world. If you don't like Trump, then all you have to do is say you don't like Trump. You don't have to pretend that he tried to, rebel against the country. So let's look really quickly. The Supreme Court said Friday that it will decide whether former President Donald Trump's name can appear. Scheduling arguments just 5 weeks from now in a case that will have major impact. So, they could rule even sooner than that. Colorado's top court disqualified the Republican frontrunner. Okay, again, similar arguments have been made to keep Trump off, but he didn't even try to do that. He didn't engage in a rebellion. None of that took place. Michigan and Minnesota, the efforts failed. And the efforts are pending in Illinois, Oregon, Massachusetts, elsewhere. So it's like, could you imagine if Republicans tried to prevent? I mean, you could look at the way Democrats turned to they didn't even address the billions in property damage. They didn't even address the billions in property damage that summer. So you look, ladies and gentlemen, and there's one lawyer says Supreme Court, hold on, 9-0. So you have White House lawyer 9-0 believes that, and this lawyer, by the way, isn't really the closest person to Trump, but you look, ladies and gentlemen, XYLS, the Supreme Court could rule 9-0 in possible Trump 14th Amendment case. The law is clear. This isn't a difficult, and again, it says 5 weeks from now, but it could be a lot sooner. They can go ahead and rule even before that if they feel that waiting too long would be detrimental. Former White House lawyer Ty Cobb predicted U.S. Supreme Court could rule 9-0 in favor of the former President Trump in a potential appeal. How on earth can you look? I mean, even if you're a liberal Supreme Court justice, how can you look and say that he tried to rebel against the country? It was obviously a speech, and a demonstration that got out of hand, that is not a rebellion. A speech and a demonstration that got out of hand is not a rebellion. Okay, so that's not, and then you have people having been acquitted because the doors were opened that day. They were actually allowed in. That person, these people, there are about 2 or 3 that have already been outright acquitted. And they should write books. Because they had the absolute entire American political establishment against them, and they are found not guilty. Okay, because if you're leading a rebellion, you're not going to have anyone found not guilty. Then you have a very, very Orwellian, I mean, this is the Associated Press. Okay, the Associated Press never used to, Tucker Carlson amplifies January lies with amplifies lies? What lie was amplified if you're being given more information? How could you amplify a lie if you're given more video? Only Democrats and wonderful, highly educated liberals in 2023 or 2024 would say more information equates to amplifying a lie. Generally, you would say that keeping information is an example of lying. Keeping information. So if you try to hide more video footage, generally more video footage sheds greater context into things. Okay, that's why you have instant replay being shown in all different angles. Generally, you want more information, more video, not less. What an Orwellian, like, it's unbelievable. It's just, and this is the Associated Press. So no wonder you had Colorado's Supreme Court rule this. Handed some 41,000 hours of footage. Fox News' Tucker Carlson has launched an impassioned new effort to explain away. What does explain away mean? What on earth does that even mean, explain away? How about find out the truth? Because the truth was not one video angle, one footage looking only at people committing crimes. The whole point of what Tucker Carlson was doing, and that's why the Fox News fired him, because Fox News was part of the problem also, is that he was giving people context. He was giving people context. For many, it was just a guided tour. Exactly. The conservative commentator aired the first installment to millions of viewers on his prime, working to bend perception. Bend perception, kind of like this article of the violent siege that played out for the world to see in a narrative favorable to Trump. That played out for the world to see. The world did not see all of the video. This is unbelievable. Who wrote this? A Democratic strategist? What's going on here? Working to bend perceptions? Kind of like focusing only on the criminal activity and never showing people walking literally peacefully as doors were opened for them. As you had officials that day opening the door for them. Why are we not allowed to see this? Because it completely destroys and undermines the apoplectic viewpoint that Trump attempted to overthrow the government, which, of course, he didn't. A small additional bit was shown amid calls from critics to stop. Like, what does that even mean? The undertaking by Fox News is that Trump is again running for president. And then they admitted that they were spreading false claims, despite dismissing his assertions. And he told his supporters to fight, obviously within the context of political context, not like it's like Braveheart. Not like he's like Mel Gibson in Braveheart. And so you have a situation where even Reuters and the Associated Press are like, this is so blatantly not just partisan. They're trying desperately not to tell you the truth, not to give you context. This is an age where videos are everywhere. Everywhere. And it's Democrats that don't want you to see the videos, as they call Trump an authoritarian. They're the ones who call Trump a despot, as they actively say, don't believe your lying eyes. So then they just go on, and they don't even, this article doesn't even address. And then here, the footage he aired, one of the high-profile grabbed his hat and poked around a building, and he was acquitted. He was literally set free after the video, which this article doesn't talk about yet because it didn't happen yet. So there was about 3 people acquitted. And then you have, Carlson is reviving falsehoods. Reviving falsehoods? How about just say lying? But you can't say lying because he's not. The video footage shows that Democrats were actually lying. Reviving falsehoods is a literary, that is an attempt through words to circumvent reality. That's a phrase, reviving. Reviving falsehood could be that the video shows that not everyone was committing crimes, but Trump really was trying to rebel against the country, and oh well, some people might not have been rebelling, but that doesn't mean he wasn't trying to overthrow the United States government. That's what reviving falsehoods means. Because the only falsehoods perpetuated was the January committee stating that Trump tried to overthrow the government, which, of course, did not happen. That, of course, did not happen. So, and then, I mean, you have just, this also talks about a terrible, it barely mentions the unarmed woman whose life was taken, mentions the officer in more paragraphs, and then, of course, doesn't mention the fact that a federal judge just absolved Trump of liability. So, and then you have the Daily Beast, not a friend of Trump, but they actually still have an article. They have not changed the title like others did. No evidence Trump or allies organized. No evidence anything was organized to overthrow the government. This alone should have immediately overturned the Colorado decision, which will be a huge victory for Trump. He did not this is the problem. This is why one of the reasons he's up. People are tired of the apoplectic leap of logic by wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrats. Yes, it was a speech and demonstration that led to chaos and mayhem and criminal behavior. It was not a rebellion. You can simultaneously and rightfully believe that it was, a terrible day, and yet not an example of Trump trying to overthrow the country. This is not difficult to understand. This is not difficult. That's one of the reasons, by the way, they're also losing. That is one of the reasons they're losing to Trump. One of the reasons Democrats are losing right now to Trump, one of the reasons is that they have continually made leaps of logic. They've continually made leaps of logic. Okay? Just like, if you don't like Trump, leave it at that. Just say you don't like him, and that's it. Okay? When you devote too much energy, it could be just, and I've seen this on YouTube, I've seen this in life, you devote too much energy to disliking somebody, that's bad. That's a bad thing for you. You could dislike somebody, leave it at that. But then you get consumed with your contempt or disdain for somebody. And Democrats have been consumed with Trump because there's no way to really stop him. Okay? There's no way to stop Trump. The Democratic Party has, the Democrats have, a couple of, really big advantages. They have media. They have a media narrative. Almost every single publication, editor, writer in politics is firmly on the liberal Democrat side. And they can't stop Trump. So, cable news, you can look, it's still, they can't stop Trump. So they don't know what to do with him. They don't know what to do with them. They had also Twitter, and that was huge. That was actually their biggest advantage. Their biggest advantage, interestingly enough, was being able to control the narrative on Twitter. That actually was one of the biggest advantages they had. Because then, what took place was they could silence any discussion. And you saw that during the shutdowns, economic shutdowns. You saw that. You saw that they would silence anyone and suspend or ban anyone's account. And they were working with government officials. We saw through the Twitter files. They were working with government officials to just ban people. And that also influenced the algorithms in other platforms. So what would happen is this platform, Instagram, Facebook, other platforms, you would start off with Twitter, banning the New York Post. Then everyone did. Then everyone banned and suspended any account that would discuss the New York Post findings. On Hunter's laptop, Nicholas Orm! Nicholas! Thank you! Good thing that nobody trusts the mainstream media anymore, so I'm not sure they really have that advantage anymore. I agree 100% with you. I agree 100% with you. They don't have that advantage. They did. There was a time where they did have that advantage. But they have thrown away whatever credibility they had. They threw that away. Nicholas Orm, thank you. They threw that away. They threw that away, and um, they had, instead of being apolitical, which is what you should strive to be as an actual, you know, as a journalist, just they want you, instead of being apolitical, okay? instead of simply instead of simply um and thank you so much, Nicholas, and to my super chat, thank you. Angie, hello. Shabbat shalom, Angie, thank you. Thank you, Angie. Thank you for being a member. Greatly appreciated. Nicholas, thank you again for you. To my super chat, I cannot do this without you, everybody. Thank you so much. Instead of simply being apolitical, not taking an overt stance and just reporting the news, commentary became part of the mainstream. So commentary against Trump, it was, you know, this frenzy, this absolute frenzy over Trump. And instead of giving the news to the average American, they tried to shape public opinion. Nicholas, they tried to shape public opinion. The opposite took place. Now nobody trusts. Nobody trusts the next big news story against Trump. People won't care. They know that he's indicted. His poll numbers are still up. Imagine, I mean, there's 91 criminal charges, and everyone knows what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on. "91 criminal charges, and everyone knows what's going on." So, you're not going to, you're not going to, that's one advantage they did have. They don't have that advantage anymore. So, I mean, it's going to be really interesting, especially, unfortunately, I do think, Nicholas, thank you again to my viewers in the UK. Thank you so much for watching. Nicholas, thank you. I don't think that, I mean, Hollywood is really the epicenter of immorality. It really is in many ways. They've been firmly against Trump. Nobody cares. They're losing money. You have publications and newspapers and cable stations. They've been against Trump. Nobody listens to them. You have algorithms that it'll be very difficult to continue with algorithms that prevent the truth from coming out, because there are so many ways to there's so many more ways now, or at least without Twitter in the hands of Democrats. With when Elon Musk bought Twitter, that was a huge turning point. That was a huge turning point for the country, because now now on Twitter, you're able to express doubt, disagree with a prevailing narrative, and if you've noticed, it's very difficult for Democrats to gain some kind of consensus now on Twitter. Not everything could be viewed as offensive speech and banned on Twitter. So, you're looking at a slow, Democrats are losing political power. They're not gaining political power. They're losing political power. They are absolutely losing political power. So, you're not seeing You're not seeing Democrats gain any advantage anymore. Because there's nothing that they can do now. The damage is done in terms of fatigue. People are tired. They're tired of the next hysterical, apoplectic response to Trump and media. You could find another hot mic, and people will say, yeah, Biden and Bill and others probably said the same thing. Probably said the same thing and worse. And actually, Biden was literally accused of having committed that physical act, unfortunately. And they all went and did everything possible to defend Biden. They did not believe the accusation. I mean, they're just so ruthless. They're just so ruthless. It's unbelievable. So, but once this, I mean, you have, in a couple of weeks or sooner, you have the Supreme Court ruling, in Trump's favor. You have Trump dominating Iowa. Okay. They're going to lose that Supreme Court case. It's pretty obvious. You're not going to get, you're not going to stop Trump for something he's not even indicted on. So he wasn't even indicted on rebelling against the country. They're trying to say he tried to urge others to do so, which is the dumbest thing in the world. And so they're going to lose that. Unfortunately, and this is really sad, the economy is not going to do well. The economy is just simply not going to do well this year, and that's sad. And that's because at a certain point, you have to, you can't simply create trillions of dollars out of thin air because bureaucrats said you should shut down economic activity. Okay, these bureaucrats still haven't, the liberal political establishment in the country and in the world still hasn't accepted the untold economic damage they caused. They pushed to shut down all economic activity and replicate an economy. I mean, they pushed to do that. Nicholas, thank you again to my super chat. Thank you. They pushed to do that. I mean, it's really unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And, I mean, these were Democrats that pushed for this. These were Democrats that pushed to shut down economic activity because the public good demanded it. They will do anything for the public good, including ruining the lives of the public. The road to you-know-where is paved with good intentions. Nobody proves that more than Democrats. For example, letting out violent felons. Where on earth did it ever say in any prison reform or, criminal justice reform law, where was that ever an idea? And criminal justice reform is important, but for non-violent offenders, not for people who are going to serve even more prison time once they're let out because they've harmed physically even more people. But see, Democrats, they don't there's no, it's like an AI robot. Prison reform must be just and moral, must be moral. It's like those 1950s lost in space robots that they don't like big, like, circular robots. They're like morality robots programmed by imbeciles. So you have district attorneys that you have that allow will probably go after people they shouldn't, and then allow the most violent criminals just out there. And it's like, this is what, to make society better? Criminal justice reform was for people who deserve a second chance, not for people who should be given another opportunity to really do terrible things. But again, there's like no logic. There's no logic. It's just the quest. Democrats have a quest. The quest is always to be moral, and they're going to be moral even at the expense of being immoral. So their idea, like, for example, they'll disown friends and family because somebody they know voted for Trump. And then in the same breath, they'll be like, Trump is just a monster. And they won't realize that putting that vantage point ahead of any friendship is the stupidest, most immoral thing to do. You don't put a friendship behind your dislike for Trump. Your dislike for Trump should have nothing to do with anyone's friendship. But then again, it's like extreme tribalism. And it's really going to be interesting when I keep on talking about this. But it's really going to be interesting when Sir Felix, hello. Libra, hello. It's really going to be interesting. Arthur, hello. When they lose in November, be here on the live stream. When they lose in November, it is going to be absolutely one of the most amusing things you've ever seen in your life. It really will be something. It's something that it'll be something that it'll be one of the most amusing things you've ever seen in your life. Lawrence, hello. Because you're going to see a complete paradigm shift in American politics. There's going to be more people backing Trump. And there will be, like, this is also the thing. He's going to actually save the economy or get us out of the rut that we're in with Biden. So, this is hilarious. Trump's evangelical will remain loyal as he violates the Ten Commandments. It's like, have you watched the Democratic Party? Do you know maybe what the news is, where they're vacationing to certain destination spots and actually engaging in criminal conduct? As if the Democrats don't violate the Ten Commandments. It's unbelievable. Also, it's really funny, too, because those types of articles, like the evangelicals are still voting for Trump. It's like, yeah, because, number one, he believes in God. He believes that a God exists. Unlike most Democrats who are atheists, which is fine. I love Christopher Hitchens, but I think that God exists. But Democrats don't get it. They're like, well, why would you vote for Trump if you believe in the Ten Commandments? Like, well, Trump doesn't want to actually create a religion with his political ideology, unlike Democrats who are literally changing and altering the definitions of words every single day to suit their warped political ideology. So it's like, that's why a lot of Democrats don't want to debate on topics, because they actually have to change the English language. They will have to change, and that doesn't fly like in French or Spanish or other languages, Arabic. No, these words aren't changed and altered in those languages. But in English, the liberal Democrats or liberals everywhere have to actually alter the definitions of words. They alter the definitions of words. I'm not going to give you examples, but there are a lot of examples. And so tradition is important to Trump also. That is not important to Democrats. If you've noticed that they have altered the, I mean, you just look at it. It's really interesting. It's really interesting how they keep saying that type of thing. Democrats are all about pointing out hypocrisy and ignoring their own hypocrisy. So, yeah, there was a lot of Democrats that also broke the Ten Commandments. Exactly. There was a recession under Biden. Suddenly, it's no longer 2 negative quarters of economic GDP. So it's not 2 negative quarters of growth. Suddenly that changed. Okay, no, we're not really in a recession. Well, I thought it was two negative GDP numbers consecutively. Oh, no. No. We've altered that. The smart people think that. They wouldn't let people pray. Democrats wouldn't let people go to church during you know what, which helps people get over you know what. I mean, we can go on and on. Catch up. Hello. Catch up. I think, let's see. Let's see, the super chat, sometimes depending on, it's right next to, I mean, depending on the phone, I've had people say it's not working. So sometimes depending on the phone or perhaps the way things are configured, the way, so you might be able to type, and then when you click the super chat link, maybe sometimes if it says super chat, you might have to click above it. So I mean, I don't know. It depends on the phone. Like sometimes that happens to me with GPS, where the phone acts a little bit weird. But I appreciate you, catch up. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being a member and to being here on this live stream. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting. The Supreme Court tries desperately not to be partisan, even though it should be very partisan. They might say the Dobbs decision was but it gives the states have that. The states, it's just giving that decision back to the states. Other than that, like you would have to pass a law. Catch up. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Catch up. Thank you. Thank you, catch up. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Happy New Year to you. Yeah, Bidenomics is not, they're not going to talk about Bidenomics. That's for sure. Let's just see. Let's just type in Bidenomics. And they're like, White House announces $162 million for computer chip production. That's because under Democrats, Taiwan is at risk of a blockade or an invasion. We weren't talking about that with Trump. Because he was very tough on that country. Lawrence Haley! Lawrence, thank you! Greatly appreciate it. To my super chat, thank you. It's working. It's working, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. Catch up. Lawrence, thank you so much. Nicholas, thank you. Greatly appreciate it, everybody. And it's like, You can ask the average person, you think the economy is good? No. Do you know what happened in the beginning of January of 21? No, what happened? It'll be two no answers. They will answer no both times, and that's not what Democrats want. Lawrence, thank you again. Catch up. Thank you. Let's just read this. This is okay. Let's see what this is about. Lawrence, no, I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much. Let's see. It's democracy. Okay. Exactly. Biden's main campaign, Biden will save American democracy as he's trying to imprison Trump and ban him from office. Yeah, I know, Nicholas. They're very, very, very strict in terms of, um, I mean, try your best to just circumvent the censors with, I guess, synonyms, adjectives. I'm always like, Mark, hello. I'm always like long-winded and verbose, more verbose than normal, just because I'm trying to, circumvent all of this. I mean, you have so many problems, especially in the southern geographic region of our country, reaching record levels. Record levels, ladies and gentlemen. And Democrats don't care. By the way, Trump is up over Biden in one recent poll among Latinos, among black voters, and among the youth vote. Okay? This is like this is unbelievable if that holds up, and I think it will. If that holds up for the rest of the year. Zeke, thank you. Greatly appreciated, Zeke. Thank you so much. I have to be long-winded because of the algorithm. So it's when I say, like, for example, the southern geographic region of our country, there's another way to explain it. But the way the algorithm is, I'm like, well, there are too many human beings trying desperately to get into the country from the southern geographic region of our country, thus creating inadvertently problems in cities within that geographic location. Or social issues. And in some cases, not like, crime is a part of any society, but then when you have an increase in crime throughout the country already, and then a possible increase in crime when more people are trying to get into the country, and Democrats always try to seem like the good, moral, just, wonderful political party. Mark, thank you. They're not moral. Gloria, thank you. It's not morality that they're thinking of. It's like what they're doing is pretending to be moral. It is not moral to focus, to completely change all of society, completely change social norms so that you don't offend somebody, while at the same time calling every Trump supporter, a huge menace to society. every Democrat every Democrat Party ideology is predicated upon not being offensive or trying to be just, while at the same time demonizing anyone who disagrees with them. So it's like, how are you moral in that sense? Go try. I'm not telling anyone to do this, but if a person were to wear a "Make America Great Again" hat in Portland or Seattle or in certain places in Los Angeles, certain places in New York, that wouldn't be a good situation. Okay, if somebody were to wear a Biden hat in any place in a red state in the South, nobody would care. That's the big difference. Nobody would care. That's the huge, huge difference here. The difference is that you are the narrative is that supporters of Trump are so, extreme. And it's like, yeah, but you know what though? The average Trump voter really doesn't care what you do with your life. It's the Democrat that really cares if you vote for Trump. That really is like a really big thing if you vote for Trump. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. You've been absolutely wonderful. I wanted to do this live stream. I'm trying to do 2 live streams a day. Be here tomorrow. I'll have a live stream tomorrow, probably around 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern, and then another one at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'll definitely have a live stream every single day, either at 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern, or at 10, and also at 10 and 11 p.m. Eastern. Be here. Hit subscribe. Thanks to my super chat so much. God bless you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Also, I will likely do an upload in the morning. I do. I remember. I remember. I'll likely do an upload in the morning, so look out for that. Angie! Thank you, Angie. Thank you for being a member for so long. Thank you, Angie. Thank you for being a member for so long. Greatly appreciate it.